the other person could have, let's say, a red mark or a scratch. Hey there, this is David Kohlmeier, the problem solver. Welcome to the show today. Every single week I bring on amazing guests that are helping people solve problems, business owners, community activists, and leaders, helping people in Clark County and the entire state, even possibly throughout the United States of America. So thank you so much for joining the show today. Today I have my lovely co-host to my right, Jon Orlando, the famous Jon Orlando.
I thought I was the lovely one.
The legendary Beija Rivera.
Yes.
And then today,
for having me.
Thanks so much for helping us out today. And then we have our guest, Beejel Parmar, with BeeEPIC Outsourcing. And I appreciate you coming on the show as we're doing a social register network tonight, St. Patrick's Day.
And I love that you specifically wanted him to see your intro. You were like, watch the intro. You wanted him, it was important to you that he saw that intro.
Three times. He pointed three times
He was like,
the intro.
he pointed and you kind of like, what is he talking about? And then he was like, look there, and you were like, okay, this is serious.
We need this over here. I like actually for people to see the intro, especially because it's the first time that we met each other.
Right.
That we understand like the show concept.
You wanted him to see how cool
how cool.
think.
Jon Orlando made that intro, so I wanted to, make sure he got some notice, some fame. So anyway, Beejel, tell us a little bit about yourself in the community. How long have you been in Vegas?
I've been in Vegas since 2015, October.
Okay, so tell us about BeeEPIC Outsourcing.
Yeah, essentially we are virtual assistant matchmakers. So we match entrepreneurs to virtual assistants, typically in the Philippines. I've been working there with VAs, as we call them, since 2009. Helped grow my first company from about 100 to 500 virtual assistants. Then decided to do something a little bit different, which is really focus on what we call the day-to-day busy stuff. I call it the morbid parts of the business. The morbid is an acronym that basically stands for the mundane, the overwhelming, the repetitive, the boring, the I don't want to do that stuff, and the stuff that's difficult and dislike. And the parts of the business are the processes, activities, responsibilities, tasks, and the software that's all entrepreneurs spend money on, but never open the box and actually use the software. So this is all the stuff that entrepreneurs struggle and resist doing, what's also known as procrastination on the most important stuff. So that's the kind of work we take on. We basically say, hey, if you're an entrepreneur or business owner and you're doing some of this busy stuff, maybe you want to delegate it out. And that's why I wear yellow, because of the connection to bees. Bees wake up in the morning. They get on with their specific role. Every bee has a very specific role in the hive. They serve the hive. They serve humanity. So we entrepreneurs need to be a little bit more bee-like.
I like that.
I love it.
I love that.
I'm not sure if you know, but Jon Orlando, he specializes in bees and bee making and honey. He's very big with honey too.
I was going to say, in school, I specialized in D's, not bees. Yeah.
So here's a question for you. I guess since of COVID taking place, it seems like a lot of businesses that kind of went out or they went home. So probably there's more of an uptick in regards to virtual assistants because people are not really in an office as much.
Being hands-on, more like online.
Yeah, we live in a global workplace now. Things have changed dramatically over the last decade in terms of where we can find, different people to help us. So whether it's people in the Philippines, like my team, or people even in the same country where people are here, we don't have to rely on people coming into our offices anymore. We can actually find talent all over the world. There are many different great platforms to do that. We just specialize in more the long-term engagement between the entrepreneur and whoever is best suited to help them with their business.
Okay, and what is it? I know it's more. I actually have an assistant here for the last year. She's been amazing. I guess here's my question is, since we're in the Philippines and the hours are different, like tell me a little bit about that. Like what does it normally cost compared to like someone that's locally in town?
So that's a great question. People always look at it as, about cost saving, and there is a cost saving. But a lot of times it's really about finding the right talent within the budgets that most entrepreneurs are dealing with right now. So my VAs actually work in the work out or the time zone of the actual entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what's the normal cost? Like what does it range in regards to like the hourly wage, or is it a monthly fee? Like how does that work for entrepreneurs?
Typically starts about $5 per hour.
So $5 an hour. And how much work are they actually doing? Because like I'll give an example. So right now I'm working in like an illegal network in general. So when I send emails to one email address, and she's throughout the day basically going to the emails, like adding to the reports. Is that what's involved in $5 an hour? Because it seems extremely reasonable.
It can range from helping clients with LinkedIn, admin, billing, invoicing, social media, posting, customer support, servicing. But let me share with you what I believe might be the number one thing people can outsource. It is the management of what they do on a day-to-day basis, right? So when we work with a lot of entrepreneurs, the first thing we look at is like, who's actually managing your time, you as the entrepreneur? Because in an ideal world, we as the CEOs of our company would be delegating everything out, right? But there's still, until we get to the point in our business where we can have a budget enough to outsource those type of things, there's still a lot of things we have to do on a daily basis. And I can tell a lot from looking at someone's calendar what their focus is as an entrepreneur, what they're actually going to get done today. So one of the things I always start with telling people is like, have a VA actually help you with your task management, not what you're going to outsource. What is it you are taking on for the day? We call it carpe diem, which is how are you as an entrepreneur going to take on the most difficult task, and who is tracking that for you on a day-to-day basis? So that's one of the things that we do very uniquely in the industry.
I like that. I mean, basically, you're making the entrepreneur more efficient. And it's being more reasonable.
And that's where the word EPIC comes in. So we talked about the B. EPIC is an acronym that stands for efficiency, productivity, intentionality, and completion. So we as entrepreneurs talk about focus, but I talk about what is your IC ratio, which is you have an intention to get things done today, but did you actually complete it? So when you are more B-like in terms of getting on and just doing what needs to be done, and your EPIC, which is efficiency is about use of time, productivity is producing the right results, being intentional is about focus, and completion is about getting the things actually done. Yeah. So when we as entrepreneurs become more EPIC and delegate the other stuff to the what we call the busy bees, then we start to form the basis of a business.
I'm going to throw you under the bus, but I'm going to go under the bus with you. I think our biggest, not problem, but challenge is we're all over the map. People like me and you, the way we're wired, like we get so many things going, and right?
So many different directions.
It's easy to get off course.
I'll give you an example. A lot of people are invested in, they get excited about producing a podcast, right? So they get on, they actually enjoyed the podcast part, they're just talking to new people, and then the work comes in, right? So this is the fun part. So I call this the project. Right now we're sitting in a project of recording this audio. What happens next? Well, someone's got to do the editing. Someone's got to do the podcast show notes. Someone's got to post that stuff on social media. They've got to splice this up into little audiograms, post that stuff out. Now that people are engaging with that, who's engaging with those people? Because if this stuff is out on social media, that means those people have some interest in this topic or this show. But if no one's actually engaging with them, we've lost the value of the project that we invested in.
100%.
Entrepreneurs are very good at investing in projects. Let me write a new book. Let me get a podcast show going, right? They'd rather go to a dentist and have their tooth pulled out because that's just a one-time pay than do some of the morbid stuff that drives the results.
Follow up and follow through.
Follow up and follow through.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So do you actually sit down with like a business owner like John and say, like, do you do a consultation first before you get the virtual assistant started?
Yeah. So we're very hands-on. We kind of have a consultative approach. And a lot of times, once I understand or believe that I can help John, I'll probably go and say, hey, I'm going to connect you with my senior virtual assistant I've been working with for over 10 years. She's the one who actually works with our pool of VAs in the Philippines and do a match, basically. So once we say, okay, I need help with LinkedIn, I need to do some of this and that, she'll then match you with the right VA, someone in our team to actually get the work done.
Let's actually, let's do this. It'll be kind of fun. Let's ramble off some things, some tasks to see whether or not they actually would do it. Okay? So I'm going to start this because it'll be interesting to see, because like my assistant right now, she's like putting names and numbers and making reports and like lead generation, stuff like that. So let's just do a few things. So email reports, yes, right?
Yes.
What about doing like uploading TikTok videos to different or Facebook groups and posting and stuff like that?
Absolutely, yeah. They can manage Facebook groups. They can be part of the onboarding process, welcome messages, asking them, if you're not capturing emails, hey, what's a good way to stay in touch with you? Then taking that, adding them to a sales CRM or a CRM, making sure they're on the kind of text platform, adding them to a greeting card platform. So now you can actually send a physical greeting card to those people as well. So there's a lot they can do.
And what I got from it is that to make it all work, it's all teamwork. It takes a village, right?
Absolutely.
That everybody has strengths and everybody has weaknesses. Mm-hmm. So don't put yourself in that position to work on something that you're not going to be strong at and give it to somebody else to handle.
That's a great point, because I think that's what paralyzes a lot of entrepreneurs, right? Is like they have the idea, they know what they want to do, and then they get bottlenecked on the process of execution.
That's why we call it the morbid stuff.
Right.
So we have
Yes.
this grand, we fall in love with this concept of entrepreneurship. We start and realize that how come 90% of my day is stuff that makes me feel like death.
And
right.
yeah, or you can't sit at a desk from 9 to 5
Right.
doing reports.
Right.
But one of the things I say with my assistant is that she's locally in town here, and she's more than $5 an hour. Hopefully, she's not listening. But the bottom line is, here's my question though: is if I was sick for 2 weeks or a month, she can take over like my operation, what I'm doing. Are they like, are they in that same mindset that once they understand what's going on, that they could kind of take over a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean,
It makes me nervous when someone's in the Philippines.
To a certain degree, right? Like, I mean, it's not an overnight thing. Like, I have a business
Takes time.
manager in the Philippines. I could take a 2-week vacation, and she can pretty much handle 90% of what I can do. The rest doesn't matter where you're in the world. I mean, through a few WhatsApp messages, I can handle majority of challenges.
Is
right?
there a minimum of how many hours that like I would have to hire someone? Can I do just 10 hours? Can I have to do 20? Is it 40?
1 hour per day. So, and the reason we
Okay.
say that is that a lot of entrepreneurs have never done outsourcing. They've never given. I said start with one thing you can delegate. Right. Build your outsourcing muscle versus trying to think you've got to delegate everything. In fact, the more you try and delegate, you can be overwhelming for the client themselves. So I said, find us 1 or 2 things that if you can just get that off your plate, will make you more effective, and especially some of the morbid stuff you talked about, right? Which is the stuff that you just hate doing. Start with that and get that working for you. Then pick something else.
What about, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say real quickly, I always like doing like a little challenge.
Me too.
Why don't we start out doing, because Beija basically runs the Las Vegas medical network, and why don't we start out doing like a test, like 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week, and then basically we could see, if it helps her with contacts and doing things, and you can meet with her and go, and then we can have you come back on the show, and after like maybe 2-3 months, we could report back of what 10 hours a week I was actually doing.
I love that.
I would love to meet with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But my question is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from when we first started the interview, it was more about you saying how many things can you get done in a day. And now you're going back to, well, if you could start with 1 or 2 a day. So I'm sorry.
No, that's a great question,
okay.
right? Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So my objective is to get as much of your plate in the right time.
Okay.
Right. So could you outsource all the morbid stuff to tomorrow?
Right.
You could, but here's what's going to happen. You still have to play a very interactive role looking at the work. Let's say you've got VAs doing all this work for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say you're producing a podcast show like this, and you've got a VA, you've hired them tomorrow. Well, now you still have to look at the quality of their work for the first 2 or 3 weeks before you have the confidence that they know they can do it the way you want to do it. Now, but imagine now you've got 5 VAs working for you, right? You've outsourced everything. And they're all coming to you, can you check this? Can you check that? Can you check this? Is my email correct? Now I guarantee you, because I've done this for 10 years, you'll be like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I need someone to like manage this.
Yeah.
That's why I say the long-term objective is to delegate all that morbid stuff, right? I mean, I have between the 3 companies I run and the VAs, 100 different people. I'm still working full time. Right?
Yeah.
I'm still, but I've got a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff. Right? I'm making executive-based decisions. That's where my time goes in on a day-to-day basis. But the objective is, yes, you have a role in your business that cannot be outsourced or not outsourced, yes. And my objective is that are you focusing your time, your limited time? Let's call it 8 hours per day, which is very 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 typical. Some people work more on the highest and best use of your time. And can we delegate the other stuff to a virtual assistant or anybody for that matter?
Right.
So you just a little earlier used what I call the O word, overwhelmed. So I have so many people every week to tell me, dude, you need an assistant. You need an assistant. And my answer is always, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't even know where to begin to tell the assistant what I need to do. Like, I know that sounds crazy. Like, do you have a process that helps me get to the bottom? A series of questions or whatever that you ask me to pull it out of me? Like, what's your problem, John?
I call it as good as gold, right?
Okay.
And think of it as 4 quadrants. So the G stands for what are you good at, right? The O stands for what do you find overwhelming or okay at. The L is what do you like doing. And the D is what you dislike doing.
Yeah.
So we basically have you fill out this matrix.
Yep.
And you can start to see patterns and so I'm good at this stuff.
Right.
Doesn't actually like doing, but I'm good at it. So well,
Right.
keep that with you right now. If you like doing it, continue doing it. That's the joyful part of that, right? But then there's stuff that you're okay at and you dislike doing. So that's one model we use to kind of help you start to unscramble the brain, right? Because it's not that you don't know what you want to delegate. It's the stuff that there's so much going on that we don't take a time to pause long enough to say, okay, what's the first few things we can get off the plate? That's what I said.
That makes sense to me.
Starting off with the one or two things. And look, let's face it, most entrepreneurs, the main thing is cash flow, right? So that's great. You're on a limited budget, you're on a limited time. Well, let's see what are some of the things that the VA can do that can help with the cash flow part of your business. Then we'll start looking at the time part, right? So there's bringing in money into the business part of outsourcing.
Which is important.
And then there's basically getting your time back. And I say, let's start with what's more important. If you're a business and money's coming in, leads are coming in, that's not the issue. Then we can jump straight into the time-saving part of the conversation. But a lot of times, people got to pay the bills first.
Yep, that makes sense.
Totally.
So why don't you share some of your information if you want to get in touch with you? I know you're here for Social Register. If you have a business card or stuff like that, you can leave with me, or we'll get your information as well. But we'll definitely meet up again. I think we all could probably use your help in general. So it'd be interesting actually to implement, your help.
I like implementing it and doing like a
100%.
follow-up show is kind of
Absolutely.
based on it. Yeah.
So my website is as in BeeEPIC, EPIC Outsourcing.com. There's some great information there, a little video that kind of shows people how to kind of what we do, how we do it, why we're different. But there's also a free guide. It's called Outsourcing ROI, and that takes them through the exercise I just told you.
What did you do before all this?
I'm a struggling entrepreneur,
Really?
overwhelmed struggling entrepreneur. Had my hand in a few different things, but yeah, that's how I kind of came into this. So
Very cool.
yeah.
I think it's great. The bottom line is, I think a lot of entrepreneurs, and especially these days with a lot of people like downsizing because of COVID and they're working from home. I work a lot in the legal industry, and a lot of attorneys are working from home. So I think they probably need an assistant to basically just follow through with being more efficient. So I think it'd be great. So it would be great to have you on another show as well. Talk a little bit more
Happy
about
to come back anytime, guys.
Absolutely.
anything else you guys can think of. Any other questions in regards to?
No, I'm excited to try
Actually
this out.
interview again.
I think we're all going to wind up
Yeah.
using you. So you got 3
Yeah.
Okay, that's very cool. I look forward to it.
I mean, definitely, so you're helping business owners, right?
Yes.
And the truth is, us as being business owners, we're helping other people as well. So, I mean, you're solving a problem. Everyone solves problems different ways. It's how you look at it. But we definitely could, use more help with being more efficient by having more virtual assistant. I think we're always afraid. I would say we never really met someone like you that actually has, that's in America. We're always afraid of some website or some scam, and we're sending money to who knows what, and they're taking our information, So I guess it's great to have more of an American source that has the connections, I've been to the Philippines myself. So,
Yeah.
but what were you going to
And
say,
it just
Beija?
applies to all walks of life, really.
Yeah.
And just like not just business, but for your personal life and how you navigate through your day, just
Yeah, absolutely.
all around.
Yep.
So thank you.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. We'll see you maybe in a few weeks. We'll probably bring you back on the show after we wind up using you. But thank you so much for joining the show, and I hope you have a good event and meet some people here and network as well. So thank you so much for
Thank you so
joining
much,
the show.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks to my co-host for being on the show as well. Again, this is David Kohlmeier, the problem solver. Every single week having some great people on the show. Every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. we go live with a podcast. Different topics, helping people solve problems. Again, David Kohlmeier, the problem solver. Thanks so much, and have a great week.